Hello, and welcome to Art Lessons with Renee. Hey, I'm going to be basing my monster mug actually on my bird who's in a flower there, and we're going to be creating and designing your own mugs. Okay, this is actually started as a monster mug lesson, but I'd rather you think of your own design and not having to make a monster out of it if you don't want to do a monster. So your materials are paper and pencil to draw your plan, a piece of clay about the size of your fist, a rolling pin or plastic tube to roll it out or press it flat, and texture tools. You could use a fork, paper clips, skewer, straw, plastic, anything. I even have a piece of fencing here to press into the clay to make some texture. So your step one is to plan. And to draw a plan, I'm going to show you how to start with a mug, because we're going to make a slab of clay. Then we're going to roll it into this shape. So I'm going to make this the seam. Okay, then we do a curve on the bottom to match the top to make a three-dimensional drawing. Now I'm doing this while holding the video player, so I'm really hoping yours will come nicer than mine. Then we're going to attach a handle on our mug. So try to make your handle dimensional. Take your time with your plans you're drawing. Now this looks like a boring everyday mug. So what we're going to do, and I'm adding a little dimension by having, remember how we have the light hitting one side and the shading or the shadow go to the other side, and that's going to add a little more dimension in your art. Okay, now with your mug, what are you going to make on it? Like I told you, I'm going to make a bird. I'm going to add a bird on there who's eating a little bug because I like birds. I'd like for you to make it personal, because the more you have a personalization, your own idea in your art, not only the higher points you're going to get, and my bird's going to be in a flower, straddling a flower, which I think is kind of silly and funny and cool, but it's a little more individual when you personalize it and do the animal or the design or the letter or the Zentangle design like we've been learning that you like on your plan. Okay, so there is my plan. Now that I have a plan, and maybe on the other side I'm going to add some texture with my tools. Now that I have a plan, I am ready to have you guys each get your piece of clay. What we're going to do is just grab a handful, about the size of your fist. So if you can get the size of your fist in clay, you're going to have enough to roll it out and to do a mug. All right, now I'm going to set it up and show you the rest of this lesson with using the tools over here and rolling out the clay slab, which is the next step, is rolling out the slab. Let me see if you can see what I'm doing. No, you can just see the roof with my bird. There we go. Sorry about this. I am videotaping myself. I think you can totally tell. And hopefully you guys will be able to see me over there rolling out the clay slab, which I'm going to do next. I'm going to roll out the slab for you. Okay, we got it balanced. So we have our piece of clay. We got our plan. We're going to get this piece of clay about after we knead it. Some of my students didn't knead it like the way you knead dough to get the air bubbles out. This is when you get your frustration out on the clay and you punch it, slap it, pound it, and get out your frustrations on the clay. Because if you don't get the air bubbles out, you can have it explode in the kiln, which we had happen. Next, I put a piece of paper on so the clay doesn't stick to the rolling pin, and you go back and forth and roll it out until you get a nice thin slab of clay, and you go back and forth, rolling it out. Let's see how this came. Oh, great. It's sticking to the paper, which is normal, so you have to peel it off. And if a little bit of paper gets in the kiln, that's okay. Now I have a nice slab. Pretty cool, huh? Now to make the slab into the mug, what I like to do is first make it a rectangular shape, straighten the edges. And then also the bottom edge could be your handle later. So you want to save all those pieces. And then you're going to roll it into a mug shape and stand it up. Okay? Then you're going to pinch. You're going to pinch it together. And if it's a little bit dry and it's not pinching, and this is the problem some of my students had. When they pinched it, they left it. You have to now get some water, dunk your finger in, and you have to go back and forth and really blend it in and have it feel like one piece of clay, no longer two pieces of clay. So you have to mash that in there until it's smooth. Okay, and you have to go on the inside and the outside, because if it's breaking at the seam, it's not strong enough. So you have to spend your time here and mash it till it's nice and smooth. Okay, now there's two ways of doing a bottom. Well, there's more than two ways. You can pinch it like a pinch pot. You could pinch it together, or you can cut a circle and add it. Now my students felt like there was a little too many steps if we had to do a bottom, and they had a hard time getting it the right size. So I'm going to show you the easy way. Pinch it together. Like I said, dunk your finger in water if it's too hard. Mash those together. Then it's going to look like a sack. So you're going to have to get your hands down to the bottom like you would do on a potter's wheel and press it out flat. And you kind of turn it, press it, turn it. Okay, so you still have a cylinder. You didn't have to adhere it to a bottom because your bottom is been pinched and now it's flattened and shaped. Okay, now you're ready to add your handle. Now the handle is those pieces that I said save those pieces you cut off earlier. And to make a handle, we're going to make a coil. And to make a coil is also to make a snake. Now to make your coil, you want to squeeze it and roll it until it's a little bit flat, or a little bit like a snake, I guess we'll say, or a worm. Once you have your coil, you want a big fat coil. I like to press it with the palm of your hand. You want to press it out so it's more like a handle of a mug. So then you're going to get your handle, instead of just leaving it like that, you have to once again press it in. Press. Now my handle's way too big, right? So I'm going to decide what size my handle is, then pinch off the rest. And the rest of it I'm going to save because I'm going to do my bird. Okay, I'm going to make my shape of my bird for the outside of it. And my little bird body's going to be like that. See the little beak and his head? I'm going to add that on afterwards. And then I'm going to carve into my flower. Okay, so we're back on this. I'm going to dunk that in water. I'm going to get the handle. It's not going to stay all by itself. Once again, you have to press the clay into the mug and make it until it's smooth. You have to merge it together. Okay? So you do the top and the bottom. Now this is a little trick that's using an armature that's usually of newspaper or paper. Now I'm going to get a piece of paper for an armature, which is a portion of your sculpture that you put underneath to hold it together. And if you put a little bit of paper underneath there and curve around it, you could take it off afterwards. Or if you fire with paper in the kiln, the paper will turn into fire. It'll burn. It'll burn up. Okay, so I have a handle. I wanted to mash the handle on the top and on the bottom. Show you how nicely I mashed it. Now you never want to forget to sign it. So if you're in a position where you want to sign the bottom, you could do that right now. You don't have to do it with a pen. You could do it with a pointy stick. But don't forget to sign it, especially with a big class. I've had students say, "Where's mine? I can't find it." And I have a feeling some kids took theirs because it looks so cool. So you definitely want your signature on the bottom. Smooth it out. And now, if it's looking wobbly, you got to reshape it every time you move around because it's a little flimsy now. You got to be gentle. Now I'm going to have my bird on the side. It's not going to stay. Once again, I'm going to wet my finger, wet the bird, wet the clay. I'm going to mash it in there. Okay, I'm going to mash it in until it merges together so I have some dimension. Now, like I said, I'm going to make my bird on a flower, so I'm going to use a pointy tool. I'm going to carve right into the outside. Then my bird's little legs climbing on the flower like my painting I showed you that I started with. And then I'm going to get a straw and I'm going to add some design, some texture. So it looks like there's bubbles in the air around it. I'm going to add a little carving, an eye on my bird, some feathers. You could add your details here, but you want to mash it in nicely. And I'm going to carefully get my mug, turn it to the other side where it's plain. And now I'm going to just add some texture and design with a straw. I'm going to do some patterns here, some repeat circles. And if you feel like it's coming apart, remember, dunk your finger in the water and mold it together until it's really strong again. Now as you want to mash and change the shape with your hands. You're sculpting now. And to get a nice shape, you want to smooth off the edge. So when you drink from your mug, if you're going to drink from it, and fire it at cone 4, is normal. 3 to 6 actually is any of the normal dinnerware clays and the dinnerware safe glazes. So you want to smooth it out, and you have to let it dry fully so it doesn't blow up in the kiln, so that there's no air in it. So you want to smooth out, add your fine details, and then carefully lift it from the base, the bottom paper, so you don't mash it up. And I'm going to finish my fine details without you, and I will be doing this lesson in art class, where hopefully we're going to have some really nice mugs that we make that you get to design instead of monster mugs. Ta-ta for now. Oops, shutting you off.